Hello, hello. Good morning, traders. Happy Tuesday to you all. I hope you guys are doing great. My name is Jason Krutzky. It's a pleasure to be with you today for another TrendSpider office hours session. If you have never tuned into one of these sessions before, there are some very simple ground rules. You guys ask me questions about the platform, and I answer them. It's as simple as that. We can talk about whatever you guys want. We could talk about scanning. We could talk about strategy testing. We could talk about new indicators, old indicators, how to script things, where to find things. You guys decide what this show becomes. There are a few of you in here right now. I apologize that I did not go live yesterday. Yesterday ended up being a very busy day here for me, and it was just not possible for me to get live yesterday, but I'm here now. Hope you guys all had a great weekend. If you're tuned in, let me know who you are. Tell me your name. Tell me where you're tuning in from. And also, let me know if you are currently a TrendSpider trader or not. If you are here because you utilize TrendSpider, maybe you recently got an account with us and you want to learn how to do something, hit me with those questions. If you are here because you're thinking about getting an account with us, let me know what you want to learn about that might, persuade you to get an account. That's what we're here to do. So let me know where you guys are tuning in from. Say hello. Don't make me just talk at the camera to the empty void. I'm here with you guys. CPI this morning. SPY has retraced its entire pullback. Pretty darn bullish. Buyers are into buyers, I guess, liked the results of the CPI print. I didn't even look into them, embarrassingly. Let me do that really quick, just so that I know, so I don't sound like totally ignorant. So year over year CPI 3.1% versus 3.1% estimated. Core 4% versus 4% estimated. Yeah, so another tame print. Eric from Thailand. What's up, Eric? How are you today, bud? How are you today, and what are you doing here today? How can I help you this morning? Or I guess for you, it's probably, what, nighttime? Probably quite late there in Thailand right now. But what can I do for you? How can I assist you today? We've got FOMC tomorrow. Obviously a pretty important, FOMC is always important, never a time when people don't care about what's going on with FOMC as far as recently is concerned. So I will be live for that as well. I'm going to be hanging out tomorrow afternoon. 10:20 p.m. Yeah, see, I knew it. Figured it was late. What are you up so late for, Eric? What's going on? Are you just trading? Is that what's up? So yeah, FOMC tomorrow. I will be live starting at like 11:30 Eastern. And we'll watch Jerome's presser. We'll, watch the market's reaction to whatever he has to say. So it should be fun. Following you with attention on Twitter. Got it. Cool. Right on. Well, Eric, since you're the only one that said hello, how can I help you, man? Do you have any TrendSpider questions? Anything you were curious about learning about today? And there are a few other of y'all here, so please do say hello. While I await your questions, let's do a little scanning. You're a beginner. Okay, Eric. So is that your way of saying that you're not completely certain what you might have questions about? We could do a little scanning though. That's kind of, when I'm not certain what to do on the day, sometimes it's best to sit on my hands and do a little scanning. So I'm going to do a little scanning. Long TQQQ. Did I say 4 Qs? I think I did. And SPHD. What's your take on TQQQ? Interesting. Yeah, so I don't, these 3x leverage products like TQQQ can be a little bit tricky. But what I guess, just right off the bat, those previous highs, probably pretty important. That $47 spot. You got to assume that there are probably some shorts, some people who are short from somewhere up in here, who knows? And they're using this as a stop level. So if price can ramp and gain that spot, you take a bunch of people out, and you might then have a bit of exhaustion risk, at least in the short term. I don't know. I don't want to get into the details of what your plan for this trade is as far as time frame. But initially, a very short-term thought would be that perhaps if they make a new high here, then you might get a little bit of a sell-off. It might not be very much. I don't know. Things are definitely seeming pretty bullish out there as of the last month and a half. So I wouldn't necessarily assume that if it sells off here, that's the top. But you might get a bit of a little blow off top initially. We'll see. If I were going to do another thought for you, man, would be analyze the Qs chart, the proper Qs chart. Let me pull some stuff off of here. Because TQQQ is just built off of the Qs, right? So you'll probably find some resistance coming into the all-time highs. How much? I don't know. But it would make sense to have a little bit of resistance into those all-time highs. You've got, let me see here. Turn off my bullies. That's not what I wanted. Here we go. This is what I wanted. All right, let me adjust this guy. I'm just turning on the fair value gap indicator. This is something that I pay attention to. There's these price action concepts. Okay, cool. So it's actually through that fair value gap. Let me see if there is. Okay, yeah, so it's through that one. Interesting. So yeah, your next level on the Qs anyway is like this 400 spot, somewhere in there. Through all the major resistance, the last thing that you have are just those highs. That's really it. So there might be a little bit of selling into these highs, but looks pretty darn bullish to me. SPHD. High dividend, low volatility. I've actually never looked at this before. So this, what I might do. Actually, ribbon. I'm just putting up a moving average ribbon just to kind of see how things look, where price is relative to everything. All right, so trading above all of them. All right, cool. It's definitely a good step. The reason I checked that was just because simply you're in a pretty clear downtrend, lower highs, lower lows. A next thought. Let's throw up some trend lines here. See what we see. If there's anything that looks interesting. So this is kind of where my head would be at, I guess. Let's also check the fibs. Yeah, that's not it. Where are we at on the current swing? Up and over. Yeah. So you're up and over the main level that you would kind of want to be up and over. So to me, this kind of suggests if you gain the 50% retrace, the 0.618, you're probably going back to the top of the range. This would be your range from here to here. We could also look at a volume profile. This might be worth doing. Just a volume profile from swing high to swing low. You're above the point of control throughout this range. You're above the VWAP too. So if you get if you get a pullback here, kind of be looking in this area because this also aligns. My guess is this aligns with your fibs. Yeah, it does. Yeah, see how your point of control and your VWAP are within the boundaries of your 0.618 and your 50% retrace. So if you were to get a pullback into that, that seems like a pretty decent opportunity to try and take a long. But the fact that it's up and over the 0.5 and the 0.618, that to me suggests that it's going to continue up to the top of the range. And then you figure you've got you've got sellers, or you've got people who are selling right now who might be using these previous highs as their stop loss. So if they can drive it through the top of the range, then perhaps they push through those highs before a pullback. I don't know. We'll see. What's up, Deep Dive? How are you? I'm going to view your deleted message. We in the building. Good morning, sir. I don't mind the caps, but clearly Nightbot doesn't like the caps. Yeah, SPHD definitely has not been rewarding this year. Perhaps that'll change next year. Who knows? Maybe the you know, the trend will shift. For now, though, you're in a pretty consistent downtrend. One way that I'll use to kind of view that is zigzag. And you can kind of see zigzag makes it pretty clear. Here's your high, here's a low, here's a lower high. Then ultimately you made a lower low. So you might suspect that at some point, maybe up in here, measure a fib here to here. So you might have that to contend with. You've got a 50% retrace just here. 0.618, you can see why they've paused it previously. So that is going to be the big level to gain. It's kind of that 42.83 spot, somewhere in there. That's my thoughts. What are you looking at this morning, Deep Dive? One of my favorite things to scan for are these chart pattern setups. On the platform, you can automatically identify so many different chart patterns, from broadening patterns to channels, double top, double bottom, head and shoulders, inverse head and shoulders, triangles of all kinds, wedges. And because you can automatically identify those patterns, you can also scan for setups related to those patterns. Pretty sweet. One of my favorites is the good old fallen wedge. Let me turn a bunch of these off here. What's up, Chewy? How are you today, Chewy? We got, what, 12 days left? Turn off my zigzag. Santa Rally, is it baked in? I don't know. I do not know if the Santa Rally is baked in. When is the Santa Rally? When does the Santa Rally technically start? Let me see. It begins on December 22nd. I love that. This is pretty funny. The Santa Claus rally, if you Google search Santa Claus rally, the top article is from our friends at All Star Charts. Because JC is pretty loud about this. Starts on December 22nd, goes through Wednesday, January 3rd. Oh no, chat disconnected. Why? Weird. That's very strange. Chat is disconnected. That's a shame. Well, if you guys have any questions, hit me with them. I clearly can't chat. But perhaps you guys can still. But anyway, as I was saying, when I'm uncertain of what to do in the markets, I run scans because uncertainty never is going to lead to me making good trading decisions. So in the meanwhile, while I wait for maybe my levels to hit or something, I'm going to run scans and see what is setting up in ways that are kind of interesting. And one of my favorite things to run is this falling wedge breakout scan. But we do have scans for pretty much every major chart pattern. This is another good one. I guess this is pretty similar to the falling wedge, but descending channel breakouts. Another kind of interesting one. I always keep the current candle toggled on. This is kind of important if you are relatively new to TrendSpider. This current candle toggle, it's good to understand what's going on here. Current candle toggle just means that we're referring to the current candle that's forming. If you have the current candle toggled off, and it's generally toggled off by default, then it's going to be looking for these conditions to have been true on the most recently closed candle. Since these are set as daily conditions, we could set them at whatever time frame we want, but since they're set at daily conditions, then what this is saying is we're looking for these conditions to be true on the most recently closed daily candle, which of course was yesterday. So by clicking the current candle toggle on, that means we're looking for these conditions occurring today as opposed to or instead of yesterday. Pretty important thing to understand, especially if you're building strategies or you're building, not strategies, I'm sorry. If you're building setups or defining conditions that utilize bigger time frames like the weekly. You know, if you're looking for a weekly condition being true on the current candle and you have this toggled off, it could be Friday at 2 in the afternoon and it's still looking at last week's weekly candle. Until that weekly candle closes, you're looking at the most recently closed candle on whatever time frame. So an important distinction to make. Let's throw these descending channels on there. But you guys can see why I like this so much. I mean, these setups are pretty sweet and instantaneous to find. Basically instantaneous to find. Super powerful. Super easy. Darn, I hate that chat is disconnected. My assumption is that it won't work for you guys either. I might try something. I might refresh here and then I might go offline. And if I do, then I'll just come right back online. So let me see. Let's try it. All right, so I didn't go offline. Interesting. Okay, let's see if chat works now. All right, chat is back up and running. Eric's asking about Tesla. Tesla is looking pretty darn tight here. There's a couple of things. Let's take the top-down approach. Let me remove everything. Find out where we are. So one of the first things I'm going to do, I'm going to add seasonality. I'm going to add insiders. Because I'm just kind of curious to know, is anybody selling? How's seasonality? How does this thing tend to perform? And looks like December, mediocre, 50% win rate in December. Your September and October are your weakest months of the year. So you're talking about, is it going to run up? So I have seasonality up, or I want to know what seasonality is because I want to know what the outlook is over the next couple of months. I know January tends to be pretty good. February performs not as well. March, April are okay. May, not so great. June is when things start really working well for this one. So perhaps January effect works. You do have a 62% win rate in January over the past, 13 years. We can throw some things up on the chart here. For example, like volume by price is worth putting up on the chart. And I'm always going to go to where, on the bigger time frames, I'm going to where the, kind of like the most important pivot is. So this swing low, this March swing low, I guess is the COVID low, seems pretty important. There was a run up here. We can throw log scale up to see it a little bit more clearly. Whenever you have a chart that's kind of parabolic like this, you have a bunch of price action down here that looks so small and insignificant relative to this big run from the lows in 2020. I'll always throw up log scale just to kind of get it in relative terms. It's a little bit more realistic looking this way. And then that makes me want to adjust my my volume by price just a little bit, just to kind of see what's up there. So clearly this $20 spot is not important to us. Tesla is not going to be $20 for a while. So then it makes sense then to go back to that pivot. And you can see we're at a pretty important spot, right? You're at the point of control from the March 2020 lows. What's up, Mike? Good morning. Hope you're well. You're at the point of control from the 2020 lows. More volume has been done really at this 240, 236 area than anywhere else on the chart, from $40, even $30 up to $420. So a lot of volume here. This is going to potentially act as either a springboard or potentially huge overhead resistance in the months and maybe even years to come. All right, so now that we understand that, let's drop down to the weekly time frame here and see what there is to see. I'm going to turn off my indicators. I'm going to turn everything off here. So from here, it might make sense to look at those all-time highs. And again, I'm going to throw that, or let me turn back on my indicators, but just turn off a few things. I'm going to turn off fair value gaps. Again, it might make sense to have that volume by price up, but then measured from the highs. And it obviously very clear, stuck between point of control and VWAP from those highs. So it's in a really sticky spot, essentially. And until it breaks, you're kind of, you're kind of stuck. What way it's going to go, I have no idea. Let's break this thing down a little bit more into weeks and see. So it's kind of interesting. 100% win rate the last week of the year since 2010. So then perhaps, you know, you got a lower win rate next week. Perhaps it makes sense to buy that run up over the next 2 weeks. Let's throw up some additional things here. I'm going to throw up just some basics, nothing crazy. Actually, let me see. I might already have them. Yeah, so I'm throwing up RSI. RSI isn't really telling us much. Essentially, what I'm looking for in any lower oscillator like this is some sort of divergence. Let's do... Actually, I think I have pulled these up already. Excuse me. Stuck on the middle Bollinger Band here. So it's that 20 week. So we're like right at the 20 week, right at the 100-day. And you're 2 weeks inside too, huh? Right now, last week's high and low were contained within the previous week. This week's high and low are contained within last week. So if this continues, yeah, I mean, whatever move they make here is probably going to start being pretty powerful. I've got a couple of interesting new indicators that we haven't launched to the platform yet, but they will be available next year, early next year. These Go No Go Pro indicators are pretty cool. So Go No Go is in a strong trend, strong go, so strong uptrend, despite this thing having, you know, consolidated for the past, what, 2 months? Or actually, well, since the summer, darn. You're squeezing a couple different, couple weeks of squeeze here. So what is BBKC? I may not have it up. Yeah, I mean, so anyway, ultimately, until you make a move, we're just consolidating. But my guess is that that move higher or lower is going to be pretty powerful. The move in whatever direction it ends up going is probably going to be pretty powerful. We could see, you know, what we could do. Let's do this. Let's say... actually, let's say the strat is 1. What's up, SM? Cheers to you. Oh, wouldn't do it. Interesting. Okay, so let's just say this. Candlestick pattern 1. Inside bar. Duplicate this. So 1 week ago, 2 weeks ago. Or actually, yeah, let's do that. And let's just see. I just want to see, like, when you have 2 weeks inside, that's pending we stay inside this week. It may not stay inside this week, but I'm curious to know. And then we'll get out like 5 candles later. How many times this has happened in the past. So not too many times. You had 2 weeks inside here. 2 weeks inside here. Actually, I should make this 0 and make this 1. There we go. That's more like it. So here's a 2 weeks inside. You get in 5 candles later. It goes in your favor. Here's a 2 weeks inside. And it fails. Here's another 2 weeks inside right here. And this ends up resulting in a move to the upside. So not many times in the history of Tesla stock have you had multiple weeks in a row inside. It hasn't happened many times. 4 times over the past 13 years. So it's actually a relatively rare setup. If it stays inside, and that is only Tuesday, so keep that in mind. It's only Tuesday. But if it stays inside, pretty rare. Stuck below the anchored VWAP from those highs. Yeah, this thing is just, yeah, you need to let it make a move, I think. Unless you're specifically trading sideways, you know, unless you're maybe selling a strangle or something like that. Where you're selling both sides, calls and puts. TrendSpider just put out their a text upon Tesla. Not sure what that means. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, I see. They're calling this out. A little breakdown. Possibly. Could be something. But I don't know. Do they have? Let's see. Like I said, I like to look at insiders. I don't see much like notable insider selling in the past couple of days. So that's a good sign. We can look up as well. Let's look at Tesla unusual options, see if there's anything to see here that's of any real interest. Mostly I'm just looking for kind of larger orders or orders that take up quite a bit of open interest. You've got your open interest values here, and then you've got your size, which and the size tells you the percentage of open interest. Like this one, 15% of the open interest. Your premium's $583,000. This is for the December 22nd, 240 call. So $500,000 for the 240 calls. These are sweep. This is a bearish sweep. So they swept these at the bid. It's labeled bearish if the sweep happens at the bid. It's labeled bullish if the sweep happens at the ask. That's how that bullish bearish label is determined. So I'm not seeing a whole heck of a lot that's like super notable, at least in the past couple of days. This is a pretty big order. Bullish sweeps, 500 grand, 6.4% of the open interest, January 19th. The 243 call. Do they have news coming? Like, are they meant to announce anything anytime soon? Their earnings are not till January 24th. I'm still just hunting for anything that's seems quite out of the ordinary. This one's 19% of the open interest for the December 22, 237 call. And this is also a bearish sweep at the ask, or at the bid rather. Similar to the other one that we just looked at. This is kind of interesting. These orders look all very connected, despite being smaller orders. January 17th, 2025s. I wonder if this is the same person. Sweep bearish above the ask for these 250 puts for January 2025. You almost kind of wonder if this is the same person buying all these. How they came in right at the same time. But they did it in small orders. This is kind of interesting, though. Because ultimately, this is like, here's a $250,000. Here's another $250,000. Here's another or rather, I'm sorry, a $500,000, a $500,000, another $500,000. So this is like a, you know, maybe a $2 million order here for these 250 puts. Huh. No news coming. Why not? What's up? How's it going? Good morning. Hope you're well. Yeah, so this to me is the most interesting thing that I've seen here so far. You got to assume this is all the same person. They're just buying from wherever they can. So this is pretty high conviction that a number of these orders are above the ask. So they're just wanting to get in. That's interesting. I would imagine that when this thing breaks, it's going to be powerful. Whatever it ends up breaking, whichever way it ends up breaking. If you know me and you know my style of trading, I've talked about this setup. I talk about this setup a lot on my personal, on my Twitter account. I'll turn off indicators here. This is a pretty clear, actually we could turn on. Let me do this. Turn on zigzag, and I'm going to turn off the go-no-go stuff. Oh, darn. It won't show on the monthly. Well, this is a setup that I like to trade on basically any time frame. What you have is basically a really nice head and shoulders. You have a break of structure, right? They lost these lows. You would have expected them to hold here. They tried to hold here before making a new low and then make a new high. They failed to do that, so they break lows. So you have a nice break of structure, and then this sets up a reversal at some point. The reversal sets up the failure at the shoulder, and that's what you got. Bang. Perfect failure at the shoulder. So like this 300 level seems very, very important ultimately to gain. If Tesla wants to make a new all-time high, that 300 level is going to be the key spot for it to do it, just based off this monthly setup. 2 weeks accumulation. Exactly, Mike. Exactly. Strategy Tester tells us that. Yeah, interesting. Interesting. Anything else you guys want to look at? We're coming up on time here. I cannot spend any real additional time. I gotta jump out of here right at the top of the hour. And EMPH on sale. Let's see. EMPH has been on sale for a year, hasn't it? Let's see. Let's do a little top-down analysis here. Again, just starting on seasonality. So December tends to be a pretty weak month. You have a couple of months of strength into January, February. February, strongest month of the year. If you're bullish ENPH, maybe it makes sense to try and find a nice low to buy in December. Try and hold it through February. Perhaps. Not a ton of data there, 11 years. Same idea here in EMPH, though, as kind of what we were just looking at with Tesla. You know, look for the place that it ramped. Throw some indicators back up here. Let me turn off my bullies. So kind of, we'll start here and kind of see. Also worth looking from here. So well below point of control and VWAP from some pretty critical spots. Well, maybe this low. Yeah, so now you're just in this low volume area. You've got a point of control at $50. Excuse me, you got a VWAP at 140. So that 140 level, obviously pretty important in the longer term. I tried to hold it back in 2021 and February 2022. They ultimately failed it. If they do bounce and gain, keep your eyes on that 140 area. You do have also a pretty big area of volume here, even up to like 180. If we go to the weekly, let's take a look at what's up with the weekly. Let me turn off zigzag. Nice little fair value gap fill here. Oh, interesting. Didn't highlight it. Well, it's there. You had a fair value gap. Turn this off. You have a fair value gap in here. Filled it really nice. Almost to the penny filled it. Nice spot. Let's see, drop down to the daily. And what are we doing here on the daily? Just about filled the gap here at 115. You're holding point of control and VWAP from the November 10th lows. Pretty key level. Could be a spot. Let's throw up fibs. You got a 50% retrace at 92.60, 61.618 retrace, excuse me, 88. Could be important. Did they let's see what's up with moving averages here. Just look at the short-term ones. Getting stuck below. Ooh, trading below all of the major short-term moving averages. Let's adjust this and just make it bigger ones. Stuck below all of those too, huh? Let's look at a trend. Let's look at a couple of trend indicators. I'm going to throw up gonna go. Actually, let's throw up chats real quick. Chat's getting rejected at kind of like it's at the middle way, right? So the trend has been strong. You came off a very powerful downtrend, and now it's kind of just flatlined. It's in the middle. So it's kind of like no trend, I guess, at this point. It's kind of just saying, like, could go either way. Here, let's throw up gonna go real quick. And gonna go's kind of saying the same thing. Orange candle meaning kind of, they call that go fish. So, like, it could kind of go in either direction. Is JP going to crash the market tomorrow? I don't know, Chewy. I have my doubts, but we're going to be watching it together. If you're around, I'm going to be watching it. We'll watch the presser. We'll watch the market's reaction to the announcement initially. What do you guys think is going to happen tomorrow? My gut instinct is that they're not going to raise rates. They're going to stay. They're going to stay the course. They're going to continue to stay the course. Yeah, so EMPH, I don't know, tricky. This is a very, very strong downtrend this thing is in. You really want to see it start gaining anything. I mean, I don't know what your plan for this trade is. And perhaps it is at a discount right now. Perhaps it is worth buying right now. But, you know, if you're bullish and you're long, it has not gained anything. Really. If you can get back up and over these old highs, 131. SPY overbought. I don't know. On what time frame? On what time frame? SM? On a 5 minute? On a daily? Definitely an impressive move. Off the lows of the day. Hold up 1 second. Let me add this. Let's add this. And let's add this. Just want to see what our extensions up look like from high to low. Of course, this does not include pre-market high. We could take a look at that too. See where we're at relative to that. On the daily, no. Are you saying is it oversold just right now in this moment? Is that what you're saying? Let's do this. Turn off. Go, no go. Too many indicators in my list here. Let's throw up RSI. I mean, there's definitely some divergence here. That's for sure. Pretty clear divergence. Making new highs. Making new highs while we're making lower highs in RSI. So, you know, could be a little bit of weakness under the hood, but also could just be correcting over time. Nice seasonality for USO. Interesting. Okay. $56% win rate this month. Oh yeah, coming into strength these last couple of weeks. After like multiple weeks of weakness. This is looking back to 2006. Let's look here. Let's look just the last 10 years or so. Yeah, so the last 10 years, 53% win rate in December. Let's add mean change here. So this week tends to perform pretty poorly over the past 10 years, but next couple weeks do perform quite well. All right, y'all. I have to jump on out of here. I hate to be abrupt, but I do have to jump. I got to get in a meeting. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I appreciate it. If you enjoyed this stream, do me a huge favor. If you don't already subscribe to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. all the subscribes, all the likes, they actually do help me. So anything you can give me in that regard, a subscribe or a like, I would be appreciative. Over here, bottom right-hand corner of your platform view where it says contact us, this is a direct feed into our employee chat room. We have live employees in chat every single day, Monday through Sunday, answering any questions that you happen to have about the platform. So just like me here, you can reach out to them and they will assist you with whatever you're curious about. And it can literally be anything. Where do I find this thing or that thing on the platform? How do I script this or that thing? I'm trying to build a strategy to define this. Can you help me? You name it, they can help you out. So don't hesitate to reach out to them. If you would like to hit me up at any time, here is my Twitter handle at Krutzky Trades. Feel free to shoot me a question if you have a question. I am always happy to assist however I can. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I will be live again tomorrow afternoon for the FOMC announcement and for the Jerome Powell presser. So feel free to join me for that. It's going to be a good day. We're going to have a good time. And yeah, trade them well out there, guys, and holler at me if you need me. And we'll talk again soon. All right. Bye.